Joining us now is a man who was in the hearing, Homeland Security Committee member, Republican Senator Ron Johnson. Senator, it's good to have you with us. Given the backdrop, the war in the Middle East with Iran right now, and all the threats that we're facing here at home, when you think about who's crossed the border, who's in this country, I know the president says that the administration is monitoring that very closely, but this is the worst possible time to not be funding DHS. It's the worst possible time to be playing political theater as we're sitting in these, we're watching these confirmation hearings. Why can't the Democrats come to their senses on this and find some consensus that it's in the best interest of the country to fund DHS and have a new leader in place?
Because they're Democrats, and they also have the legacy and corporate media in their back pocket. So they're never held accountable for the outrageous things they do. Now, my wife was watching a news report. A reporter was talking to people in line at the TSA security zone, being held up for hours, and the people in line had no idea that the reason they were being held up is because Democrats have defunded DHS and TSA agents weren't getting paid. Now that's the fault of the legacy media. And that's why we're here. If the tables were turned, if it were Republicans holding up DHS funding when the threat level has been risen because of a war in Iran, we would be savaged by the media. We would have caved weeks ago, but there's not that kind of a pressure, that's not that kind of accountability on Democrats here in the Senate.
So you got Markwayne Mullin up for head of DHS hearing today. He seems like the kind of guy who knows how to get things done, Senator. He gets opposition in the hearing. My guess is most of the senators out there questioning him understand what an effective guy he is. How do you think this nomination process will go? And do you think he can move the needle on maybe getting Democrats across the line and getting DHS funded?
I sure hope so. He's led a remarkable life. He's it's a lifetime of achievement, a family man, a man of faith. And a man who has reached across the aisle and built strong relationships both in the House, in the Senate, with Democrats. And we had Josh Gottheimer, a Democrat representative, I think, from New Jersey. They've got a strong relationship. And that was proven in the hearing today. So, yeah, there was a little fireworks there. But in general, I think the people at the dais really respected Mark, and I think they saw a man of integrity who will do a good job at the helm of the Department of Homeland Security.
On the subject of the Democrats and the DHS shutdown, Trade Representative Jamison Greer told our own Maria Bartiromo this morning that the fallout of this shutdown will only get worse. Please listen.
The Democrats, who profess to love government and think that government's the solution to everything, and then they shut down the government, it makes it incoherent, but it can have economic fallout.
Your reaction to that, Senator?
Well, it already has had economic fallout. The first Schumer shutdown decreased the level of GDP growth in the fourth quarter. This will do the same thing. If we don't have Customs and Border Patrol, it's going to slow down imports and exports. It's terrible for our economy, but even worse, it's terrible for our national and homeland security.
Your Democrat colleagues are trying to go the route of saying, hey, we want to fund TSA, we want to fund FEMA, we want to fund all these things. We just don't want to deal with CBP and ICE right now. So why don't we do this in a piecemeal manner? Now, I know Republicans have said we're not doing it that way, and I understand why. But is there any world in which piecemeal becomes a viable option, or is that always going to be dead on arrival?
Well, I'd actually accept that as long as they would attach to it the Shutdown Fairness Act so we never have to face this again, or even better yet, the Eliminate Shutdown Act. I mean, those are two pieces of legislation that I've sponsored that would eliminate shutdowns for all time, or at least if we're in a shutdown, would pay people who are going to get paid anyway, but pay them in time so they're not having to run second jobs to feed their family.
Senator, the prospect of them including that provision to me is not likely. And so I'm looking at alternative options. And we were discussing earlier on our program some of the airports in the country that use TSA that is privately contracted. And that's been very successful. And obviously, in a time like this, the government's not paying those agents. They're being privately paid, so you don't have to deal with a disruption like this. Do you think we'll see more of that?
That's the way this should have been set up initially. Quite honestly, I think air traffic control ought to be privatized. There's all kinds of things we ought to privatize because government is dysfunctional. It should surprise nobody, but what's really dysfunctional is Congress and the United States Senate. We've got to change that dynamic. I've been here 15 years. We should have passed 180 appropriation bills on time before the start of the fiscal year was funding. We passed 6. Yeah. That's a 96.7% failure rate. So again, I disagree with you on the Shutdown Fairness Act. The unions support that. They're putting pressure on Democrats to do that as well. What we need Republican House appropriators to attach it to any must-pass piece of legislation that comes over to the Senate.
I only say it because they use it every single time to be able to cause chaos, as the president said. So, but I hear you on that. Hopefully they come to their senses.
We will watch, sir, if that happens. In the meantime, we're going to watch this government dysfunction and hope that it ends soon. Senator Ron Johnson, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.